Hey, welcome back to Diode Press. I'm Graham. So today's video is going to be a little bit different than normal. So recently I was at an antique shop looking around and I came across this vintage aircraft gauge. When I got it, it had a broken needle, so it was kind of worthless, and I don't have an airplane anyways. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to take and make into a clock. So I could have taken everything out of it and put the clock motor on the inside, but it kind of had some cool features that I wanted to keep intact. And so I put the clock motor on the back of it. And so I'll go through how I got this working. So here's what the gauge looked like when I got it. It has a small shaft coming out of the back that rotates the needle. So every revolution, it increments the counter on top. So the first thing to do was to take the whole thing apart, really for two reasons. I need to figure out how to attach the clock motor, but I was also kind of curious how it all worked inside. After I put the shaft back in and marked off where the shaft comes through the case with a Sharpie, I then cut the shaft to length. The shaft in here was extremely hard steel, so it took a while to cut through, and then I used a small file to clean up the end. To make room for the connections from the motor to the shaft, I used a step drill bit and cut through the casing to enlarge the hole. It was pretty soft aluminum, so it was pretty easy to drill out. Now I test fit the clock and marked the mounting holes with a pen. Then I drilled them out, and using a tap I tapped the holes so I can use machine screws to attach the clock motor to the back of the gauge. And here's the clock mounted to the case. And then I put it all back together. Now I had to fix the pointer needle that was broken. I used the second hand from the clock motor kit that I got and trimmed it to the correct length. I also painted it to match the original needle that was floating around in the front. And then I could button up the front panel also. Now the last thing to do was connect the clock motor to the shaft of the gauge. To do this, I used a small clamping hub that fits over the diameter of the shaft. And then I filed out a notch in the clamp. It's just aluminum, so it was fairly soft metal to grind through. The hour hand that attaches to the clock motor will sit against this hub, and the needle's bent to lock into the slot that I just filed in. So after I mount the hour hand back on the clock motor, and mount the motor to the case, it'll then fit in this groove and drive the internal gears of the gauge. But there's no real permanent connection, and I can adjust the hub up and down on the inside to get a perfect fit between the gauge and the motor. Now I drop in a battery and it's off and running. And so that's all there is for this project. It was really pretty easy. So you can see here, as I turn the knob on the back of the clock motor, it increments the hour and also increases the counter on the back. So as it goes around, once every 12 hours, it'll add one number to the top up here. It's kind of an arbitrary number, but it's just kind of cool to have it all working on the inside. And so obviously the numbers on the gauge don't match, the regular 12 hours on the clock, but the needle does, and that's all that really matters. And I also think it's kind of cool, having it sitting on the shelf working as a clock and then just as a vintage gauge sitting over there. So thanks so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up with new projects. And let me know down in the comments what you think of this project, and hit the thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks!